Hey y'all, Michelle Raza here with Finding Yourself SATX Life Coaching, where since 2017 we've helped clients develop their personal vision statements, set their goals, and then achieve their goals with weekly accountability sessions. Please do check out my website. I'm at www.findingyourselfsatx.com. There in the shop section, you can see our guided life balance questionnaires, where we take you through the 7 different life areas to help you develop your personal vision statements. I'm sorry, I have Earl here with me, my little kitty. He loves to hang out, and he meows if I don't let him in when I'm recording. But please do check out that guided questionnaire. Those are $20 each for the video PDF combinations. And of course, if you would just like the PDF, that's free of charge. Just go ahead and send me an email there from my website. I'm super excited, y'all, to start a new book today. We're going to be covering Melody Beattie's Codependent No More. I hope that you've picked up your own copy. Let me grab it here and show it to you. I actually took a little bit of a different approach with this one. So this is Melody Beattie's Codependent No More. This book, I pretty much literally can read it on repeat. I do so through audiobooks. So a lot of my reading, quote unquote reading, is done through audiobooks. It's just very, very helpful when you are so in the language of Dr. Gibson, when you are the internalizer and you have externalizers around you, and so you're used to always being the responsible one, the one who picks up the slack, the one who does most of the work in relationships, it's very likely that you're also a codependent. And so it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have somebody who's chemically dependent in your life, but that is the original definition of being a codependent. So let me start, if I can get Earl to stop messing with the microphone. Okay, so just going over the plan for this book. Today we're going to define codependency, and for the next 2 weeks I'm going to show you some stories from Melody Beattie's book. And you may see yourself in the stories as either the codependent or even the dependent. And that's okay, because we all have some of the traits, as we saw with Dr. Gibson's works. We all have some of the traits of the EIPs. We may be internalizers as well. So don't feel like the world is ending just because you see yourself as either the codependent or the dependent. People are very complex. And the more that you study what makes people click, and all of these things, the more you're going to see yourself in it. It's actually funny, but medical students, when they're studying all of the different diagnoses, will often mysteriously have many of them, and they usually don't actually have any of them, but it's just because you recognize pieces of yourself in what you're studying. So it's good. It means that you're really focused on it, and if you are a codependent or a dependent, then this book will help you. Okay, so I think I did already cover the internalizer is the codependent, whereas the externalizer can sometimes have dependent qualities. Not a perfect science, not a perfect alignment, but it's a good kind of crosswalk here. Melody's definition of a codependent. A codependent person is one who has let another person's behavior affect him or her, and who is obsessed with controlling that person's behavior. So I'll read that again. A codependent person is one who has let another person's behavior affect him or her, and who is obsessed with controlling that person's behavior. Okay? The other person might be a child, an adult, a lover, a spouse, a brother, a sister, a grandparent, a parent, a client, or a best friend. He or she could be an alcoholic, a drug addict, a mentally or physically ill person, a normal person who occasionally has sad feelings, or somebody else. But the heart of the definition and recovery lies not in the other person, no matter how much we believe it does. It lies in ourselves, in the ways we have let other people's behavior affect us, and in the ways we try to affect them. The obsessing, the controlling, the obsessive helping, caretaking, low self-worth bordering on self-hatred, self-repression, abundance of anger and guilt, peculiar dependency on peculiar people, attraction to and tolerance for the bizarre, other-centeredness that results in abandonment of self, communication problems, intimacy problems, and an ongoing whirlwind trip through the 5-stage grief process. This is from page 34 of her book. So here's Codependency, a brief history. Robert Subby and John Friel, in an article from the book Codependency, an Emerging Issue, wrote, originally, it was used to describe the person or persons whose lives were affected as a result of their being involved with someone who was chemically dependent. The codependent spouse or child or lover of someone who was chemically dependent was seen as having developed a pattern of coping with life that was not healthy as a reaction to someone else's drug or alcohol abuse. It was a new name for an old game. Professionals had long suspected something peculiar happened to people who were closely involved with chemically dependent people. Some research had been done on the subject, indicating a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual condition similar to alcoholism seemed to appear in many non-alcoholic or non-chemically dependent people who were close to an alcoholic. However, the definition for codependency has expanded since then. Professionals began to better understand the effects of the chemically dependent person on the family, and the effects of the family on the chemically dependent person. Professionals began to identify other problems, such as overeating and undereating, gambling, and certain sexual behaviors. These compulsive disorders paralleled the compulsive disorder or illness of alcoholism. These compulsive disorders paralleled the compulsive disorder or illness of alcoholism. Professionals also began to notice many people in close relationships with these compulsive people developed patterns of reacting and coping that resembled the coping patterns of people in relationships with alcoholics. Something peculiar happened in these families too. As professionals began to understand codependency better, more groups of people appeared to have it. Adult children of alcoholics, people in relationships with emotionally or mentally disturbed persons, people in relationships with chronically ill people, parents of children with behavior problems, people in relationships with irresponsible people, professionals, nurses, social workers, and others in helping occupations. Even recovering alcoholics and addicts noticed they were codependent and perhaps had been long before becoming chemically dependent. Codependence started cropping up everywhere. One fairly common denominator was having a relationship, personally or professionally, with troubled, needy, or dependent people. But a second, more common denominator seem to be the unwritten, silent rules that usually develop in the immediate family and set the pace for relationships. These rules prohibit discussion about problems, open expression of feelings, direct, honest communication, realistic expectations such as being human, vulnerable, or imperfect, selfishness, trust in other people and oneself, playing and having fun, and rocking the delicately balanced family canoe through growth or change, however healthy and beneficial that movement might be. These rules are common to alcoholic family systems, but can emerge in other families too. So again, what is a codependent? A codependent person is one who has let another person's behavior affect him or her and who is obsessed with controlling that person's behavior. So in the next couple weeks, we'll go through some examples of that Melody talks about of codependent people if you have a copy of the book, or if you can get a copy of the book, it's a really good read. It's quick. I think I finished it in a day. Like I said, I'll listen to it on repeat on audiobooks. And you can see that there's a fine distinction, right, between being selfish and self-centered. You would hurt people. If you're too selfish and too self-centered, you'll hurt people. And if you're too selfless to the point where you don't take care of yourself, you can also hurt people. So the true balance, and a healthy balance, is somewhere in the middle. Like, you need to be able to take care of yourself. You need to be independent. You can't let other people's problems basically destroy you, because you can't control them. That's why being a codependent is so dangerous to the person who's suffering from it, because the people around you, whether they be EIPs, alcoholics, chemically dependent, someone who's actual dependent, like has a medical issue and you need to care for them, caregivers often become codependents too. It's because there's very little that you can do to control the situation that you're in. And you, in essence, worry yourself sick about stuff that you can't do much about. So that's kind of why this is, I think I told you all, of all the people that I meet, I feel like every second person suffers from codependency. And if you're not the selfish individual who is causing this trauma in other people's lives, you seem to be the one who's being affected by it and really, really worrying yourself sick about somebody else's behavior. So it's complex. I feel like it's very complex. I feel like it's a good transition from Dr. Gibson's works. It's not so easy. Some days you may feel like you fall into one category. Other days you may feel like you fall into the other. But I feel like this work is very worthwhile. You'll get something out of it. I hope you do pick up your copy and follow along. I was in chapter 3 right now, so I started on page 34. Then I skipped back 31, 32, 33. I just feel like the layout of it is, for my own taste, I'm just going to do it as I feel is best. I guess that's the luxury of having this channel, right? But if you read it, it's just an excellent read. So more to come next time we talk, hopefully on Thursday. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I really do appreciate your comments. Please do like and subscribe. It really does help us little YouTubers. And if you're ready to start your journey today for only $19.99, please check out my website. I'm at www.findingyourselfsatx.com, and it's /shop1 there in the shop section, where you can purchase your first free consult, or you can purchase the guided video sessions for $19.99 and start your journey developing your personal vision statement and then working towards setting your goals. So thanks for being with me here today. Look forward to talking with you on Thursday. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.